Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Archer's Garage and whatnot. Today we are back in the garage. Not very excited about this one today, actually. Kind of a sad one. My wife's Chariot, Old Blue here, has retired. The engine, a couple days ago, she was on her way home, and the engine locked up. So, gonna figure out what's going on with it today and see if she's worth saving. And the interesting part about this one is a week or so ago, got in a small fender bender on the way home, and I haven't heard back from the insurance company yet as to say if they're gonna even fix the vehicle. So kind of at a crossroads here. Do I fix it? Do I spend the money to get the engine running and have them retire the vehicle anyhow? So kind of halfway dragging my feet on this. I didn't even know if I was going to make a video on this because it's going to be a long repair. My dad kind of talked me into it. He's like, it's going to make a good video. Yeah, it would. And there's a lot of people that don't know how to do this stuff. So let's do this. So the point of this channel is typically fixing things with basic hand tools so you don't have to go to the dealership or the big shops and pay them. This is not that job. This is not a job that you're going to do with basic hand tools. However, I am going to try to break it down so people with a good skill could do it. If you're good at changing oil and that's about it, you're not going to want to try to tackle this. If you've got a pretty good grasp on mechanical skills, you can get this done. That's if it's not completely locked up. I hope I don't have to replace the engine. My wife said she thought she heard like a timing chain type noise. And so a little bit of back history. My wife was a mechanic before she became a mom and a stay-at-home mom. She was a mechanic with me in the shop also. She was a diesel mechanic with me. So when she says she heard a timing chain noise, it holds its weight. I just opened up the passenger side valve cover. That's where you put the oil in, and it's a little bit milky in there. But if you pull the oil dipstick, it's not milky down below. So did it jump a chain, or did the passenger side cam lock up because the oil is milky over there? It's got some water in it. I don't know, but I will do my best to give you the tools needed to get this done, the tools of knowledge, how about that, to get this job done. So let's dive on into this thing, and I'm sure you can tell that I'm not very, very enthused about doing this. It's going to be pricey. I'm in my driveway. I don't like to do this stuff in my driveway because my neighbors put up with a lot. I don't want them to put up with this. But, tough times call for tough measures. So, let's get this party going. All right, guys, join me. And I'm glad you're here today. I wish it was on a different job. So let's see if we can get this thing going. All right, so the first thing you need to know, it is a 4.6 two valve, and it's an 03 Ford Expedition. It could be an F-150, it could be Mustang, whatever, but it's a two valve 4.6 engine. And anyway, like I said, if you open the oil cap, it's got some milk in it. But when you pull the dipstick over there, it does not have milk down below, down in there, down in the crankcase. So I'm wondering, so my thought is, my wife says she heard a timing chain noise. So did the chain jump and bind up, and that caused the engine to lock up? Or did the water in here cause the cam to lock up on the head? Or did the whole engine just take a dump? I don't know. So that's what we're working with. So first thing I did, I'm draining the water. There's a pick hock down on the bottom of the radiator, draining that. Then you got to remove your air plenum and all this stuff. Then once you get the radiator hose out of the way, loosen up the fan shroud, and then you got to get the fan off. There are special tools to get the fan off because it's not like the old Chevys where you had 4 bolts on it. And see, I already pulled the belt off. That's how I tested to see if it's truly locked up and not just a pulley binding up on a belt. Pulled the belt off and I put a bar on the crank pulley, and it's not going anywhere. Anyhow, back to our fan. If you look down in here, you see there's a big fastener, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, that's how you get the fan on the water pump. And I'm probably going to have to put the belt back on because you want the water pump to not spin when you do this. So anyway, on this, it's right hand thread, so you want to spin it normally, like, you know, backwards, righty tighty, lefty loosey. With that, I take an air hammer with a long bit and I put it on the left side of that that fastener, right? And then I just bump it with the air hammer. Boom. And the fan, I'd say 99 times out of 100, will come loose. I had a guy I used to work with complain to me that I would do it that way. Oh, you know what that does to the water pump bearings and all this stuff? It does nothing. I've done it so many times, it does nothing. Anyhow, so that's a safe way to do it. Also, there are tools you can buy and they will clamp onto the water pump bolts, and it holds that still, and then you put this big tool on here and you undo it. You can do it either way you feel comfortable, but anyhow, so my goal today is get all this opened up, try to get down to the timing chains, and to do that I'm going to pull the valve covers off and pull the front cover off. I'm going to try to get through all that today, but I've got to work today, so I'm going to do as much as I can, and the weather's looking like it may rain, so like I said, I'm going to do as much as I can. But whatever I can't do, I'll do tomorrow. You guys won't even know because I'll splice it all together and it'll be like one big happy video here. But anyhow, let me get my air hammer going. Let me get all this apart and I'll meet you guys here in a minute. Alright guys, so got the fan off, shroud off. So what you do, you break the fan loose, spin it off, let it drop down. This is all in the engine bay when I'm saying this. Let it drop down, then you take the two bolts off the shroud, push it toward the engine, pull the fan up this way, then you can take the shroud out. And then you're left with all this port space. I just put a bar on the crank pulley again and it's still not turning, so it's definitely locked up. So I'm going to go ahead and zip this loose with my impact wrench and pull the front cover off. Boy, this is going to suck. But it is what it is. I'll probably... I need to pull the valve covers off anyway. I was going to say I'm probably just going to pull the front cover off without pulling the valve covers off, but I got to pull this off and clean it up anyway. So might as well do it. I'm trying to talk myself into being lazy about it and doing it the quick way, but you got to do it, right? If you can't do it right the first time, when are you going to have time to do it right the second time? So might as well do it. You know the worst thing about filming? Well, there's two. One, it slows you way down, so it cuts into your time. And two, you can't listen to your music. I'm out here jamming to some Jimmy Buffett and tried to film, and I got to refilm it because I had the music playing in the background. And yes, Jimmy Buffett, I live in Florida. So, anyhow, let me put you guys down. Let me get this pulley off and see what kind of carnage there is. Alright, so I've got the harmonic balancer off. I was going to show you guys how it's done, but it's darker down in there and it's easy enough for me to explain it here. So this is the puller. This is the pulley, of course. So what you do, you take your puller, it has screws that come with it, or bolts that come with it, and it screws into holes that are threaded from the factory into this guy. So you screw that into there, and then this guy here, well, the first thing you do is you take the bolt out of the front of the crankshaft that holds this guy on. You take that off, take the washer off, okay, and then you put all this on there. You put the 3 bolts on, That way it's got a good clamping force. Now what this does, these bolts clamp this onto here, clamp it nice and tight, and then you thread this into it so it pushes to the crankshaft and it pulls this off of the crankshaft, because it's a press fit. So as you push this in, it pulls this off. So simple as that. It sounds simple. The first time you do it, you're gonna cuss yourself and kick and scream, but once you see it done a couple times, it's very, very simple. All right, so we got her opened up. So to get to this point, pulled off all the bolts here. It's a bunch of 13 millimeters, some that were 15, some that were 18, but most of them are 13s. You just follow the cover around and you just take loose what needs to be taken loose. And on the oil pan, you have 4 13 millimeters that are there that come up from the bottom. Don't forget those. You don't want to try to pry this thing loose and break it. I went ahead and left the valve covers in place today because I'm running out of time for today. And there are 2 8 millimeters on each one. Took those loose, and once I got all the hardware out, pried the cover forward, and that's it down there. Now then I took the tensioners, which are these guys here, two 10 millimeter bolts that hold those on. This rides up against the chain tensioner. Anyway, I took those loose, and my thought process is I want to see if the thing will spin over, to see if one bank or the other is seized up. When I took the passenger side bank loose, the cam didn't spin at all. When I took the driver's side bank loose, the cam did. So the driver's side bank is free. This side bank here is questionable. I put the bolt back in the crank, tried to spin it over, and it's still not spinning. Now, that doesn't mean that the engine's toast right now, because it could be a valve hung up and touching a piston. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up for today. Go ahead and clean everything up, and tomorrow morning I'll get back on it and take the valve cover off, see if I can spin the cam, and go from there. Next step, like I said, pull the valve cover off, see if I can spin the cam, possibly pull the cylinder head off, and that's where we're at now. So as of right now, the engine still does not turn over. Here, let me turn you guys. So as of right now, engine still does not turn over, but we're not dead in the water yet. I'm going to pull that cylinder head, or pull the valve cover off, test the cam, see if it'll spin. If it doesn't spin, I'll start loosening it up, see if I can get it to spin. That way I start narrowing down what happened. I'm suspecting maybe the cam seized up, and that's what caused everything to happen. If I have to pull a cylinder head, I can go get a cylinder head. If I have to pull the engine out, we'll tear it down, see if it needs a crankshaft, a piston, maybe it seized up, whatever happened. Right now, best case scenario, I believe, is a cylinder head is bad. So it's a big repair no matter what, but better than buying a $5,000 engine or $4,000 engine, whatever these things go for now. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this video together so you guys can see this thing in progress. And I hope you guys are enjoying this more than I am. It's heart-wrenching to see your wife's truck broken down. And when she called, I was at work. I had no way to get to her. I was the only one at work that day, and I just couldn't leave. You know, my neighbor, a good friend of mine, he actually went and sat with her until the tow truck came, because my kids were in the car with her. I mean, luckily it was only 2 miles from the house, but still, you don't want your wife in that situation. So I want to get this thing fixed and fixed right, and I want to take you guys along the ride so you can see how it's done, and maybe it'll inspire you to do the same and not drop a bunch of money somewhere where you don't need to. So anyhow, I'm going to leave you guys with that today. Tomorrow I'll try to get further into this, make another video on it, and hopefully we get this thing going. I'm staying positive about it. I'm a very optimistic person. I am a realist, but I am a very optimistic person. We'll see what happens. Worst case scenario, engine, but I don't think it'll go that far. I think we can fix it with parts, and you guys will see that when it happens. So thank you for joining us. Not the video I wanted to make, but life isn't always about that, right? Sometimes you get lemons and you have to make lemonade out of it. The pastor said one day, and this is as true as it gets, if you want to make God laugh, tell him what your plans are. And that's a fact. So God always has better plans for us. We may not always see it, but they're out there. So there's something planned for us, and there's something that's keeping this truck off of the road right now for some reason or another, and we may never know it. It's not our job to know it. It's not our plan. It's not our world. We're just here for the ride. But there's always a bigger plan. So anyhow, thank you for joining us. I hope you come back and watch the completion of putting this old turd of a truck back together. And if you like it, subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment, do all those great things. And we're just trying to enjoy life here and put together some videos that will help other people like us do stuff. You know, put things together and build wooden structures and fix their cars, all that stuff. Anyway, have a blessed day, guys. Thank you for joining Archer's Garage and whatnot, and I will see you next time.